Hey guys, today I have something task that I don't really want to do. It is kind of messing up my schedule once again, and it is awkward and kind of not the time for this, but I don't have a choice. You can see the car in front of me. This is OPEL Astra F Vauxhall or whatever, GM, I don't know how this thing is called wherever you are, but it is 1.7 liter diesel engine without turbo or anything else. The car is owned by a neighbor of mine, which I have to help out, so I had to reschedule some of my stuff and make room for this project. The problem with the car is that while he was running, the car stopped and he wasn't able to start the engine again. So my first guess was that probably the timing belt has failed, and I took some of the parts off the upper cover of the timing belt, and I think that my suspicion is confirmed. You can see that the belt is off place. The keys all over the place, basically disconnected from everywhere. But before I take it out, I intend to remove the lower cover and just check out what is going on, if the water pump was the fault or anything else for that matter. So this is gonna be the main task for this video, for me to find a way and make this run once again. I don't know what is gonna involve. For now, I for sure know that I have to disconnect the generator and the hydraulic pump, so I can remove the two belts that are for them, and that way I can free the pulley that is on the crankshaft. So when I remove the pulley, I will get the lower cover of the engine as well, so I will get the full picture. And my idea is simple, basically, to get, I have the new kit with me, and I want to just check the belt if it is the same, and the pulleys and the water pump. The water pump is a tensioner on this engine as well, acting as a tensioner, not only as water pump. So I have the full kit, but when we were ordering the timing kit, there was choice between two belts, longer and shorter. The number of the teeth that the belt has was different, so I have to make sure that we have the correct kit, because we use the VIN number of the car, but still it is better for me to check if everything is okay before I proceed. And as I said, the idea is basically simple. Even though this engine is classified as interfering one, which means that when the belt fails, it is highly probable, most likely, to have valve piston collision, so the valves can be damaged as well. And before I remove the head and do what it has to be done, I still want to check if that is the case. I will install the new belt with everything surrounding the water pump and the pulley, and we'll see if this is going to start and how it is going to run eventually, if it starts at all. If not, I will know that I have to remove the head from the engine and replace the gasket, the damaged valves, and all sorts of things. But for now, we are gonna start. I'm going to start by removing this lower part. I'm not gonna show you this because this is not very interesting, and there is no point of me showing you that. It is very simple process. There is a bolt over here that has to be loosened, and the generator is going to be free, and almost the same procedure on the bottom. There is a stud with two nuts on it that are regulating the tension on the hydraulic pump that I have to loosen as well. And the two belts are gonna come off the car, then the pulley. So I will make my way to the timing belt, and afterwards we'll see how the things are gonna go from there. But the main goal is going to be for me to somehow find a way to start this car. So I hope this content is gonna be interesting or helpful to you, so you may consider sharing, commenting, liking and subscribing for my channel for more content like this one. I hope you'll stay till the end of the video if you think this is gonna be appealing to you, of course. So let's not waste any more time and just start working, because as soon as I am done with this car I can get back to my interesting projects, because this is just something tedious for me and I don't really want to spend much time with it, but nevertheless I have to help my neighbor, so enjoy and let's start working. Well, the timing belt is off the car and this is it. This is the reason for the problem with the engine. It was like this some while ago, and you can see that over here there is another crack. Basically, yeah, I have disassembled the tensioner and the guide for the belt, and there is another problem. So the timing kit that I have is the correct one, but in my case there is another problem, and that problem is that when I researched about potentially the engine that is in this car, in the old data that I used, probably I have opened a different engine or something, because the tensioner was presented that the water pump is the tensioner on this engine, and there was only a guide, another additional pulley and water pump that serves also as a tensioner. But in my case there is another tensioner that is only a tensioner, guide, and the water pump is also on the timing belt mounted. And in my new timing belt kit there is no water pump, so that means that I can't install it. I have to buy a water pump as well, and I have placed an order, but it is gonna be for tomorrow probably. So the only thing that I'm gonna do now is to take the old water pump off the engine, just to make sure that the new one is gonna be the same. So the damage on this belt was on the crankshaft, so probably it is only the fault of the belt, nothing else. It is way too old and nobody thought to replace this in time, so this happened. Also, I have placed an order for the gasket on the valve cover as well. I forgot about that, since I have to remove this cover for me to adjust the camshaft, so I have to replace this gasket as well. You can see that she's been leaking oil anyway, so it is gonna be good to be replaced. Down there is the water pump. Now I'm gonna drain the cooling liquid and I will remove that as well. So once I get the new one I will proceed to installing the timing belt. So we are gonna see if this is gonna start. Well, logically this is gonna be the next step. See you back in a moment. Well guys, the mystery is solved. I kept disassembling because I wanted to be prepared for the next steps and to adjust the timing of the engine beforehand, and when I got the water pump just to install everything and so on. But I was curious to see what is going on the camshaft side, and I have confirmed my suspicions, because this was a possibility and a very strong one, and as it turns out it is the case. So there is some engine damage. I don't know if you can see in the bottom over there, this is the head, and between the valves there is a piece of a camshaft rocker. I was able to see 3 of them broken so far. On these 2 valves over here they're broken, and on this valve over here. I don't know if any of the other ones are damaged, but these rockers have to be replaced. And for me to do that, I have to remove the camshaft out of its place. So yes, I will have to find a way to get this out, and hopefully I will be able to find some rockers just install them, install everything and start this engine. This is gonna be a huge win if nothing else is damaged. But now the task is going to be to remove the camshaft somehow. I still don't know how. I think this is sliding out of the head, but we'll see. I will disassemble everything, get the parts and get back to you as soon as I have a solution to this problem. So hopefully we are gonna be able to hear this engine run once again. Well, I already have the parts, and as I mentioned, I was able to get the rockers out. You can see them over here on pieces. This is one of them. It broke in 2 pieces, and this is the other one. The third one is in my bag because I went and bought new rockers. So the struggle is going to be for me to find a way to get them inside. I even bought some other stuff. This is air filter to replace this one. I have bought some belts for the hydraulic and the alternator. Over here, this is the gasket for the head, water pump, and the water pump over there. This is a thermostat for my BMW, and the rockers themselves. I still don't know if I can install these without disassembling the camshaft. It is gonna be a very interesting experiment. So my task for now is to try and fit these in their places and see how the things are gonna go. So let's try. I'm incredibly happy because my first mission, absolutely the first mission, is accomplished, and that was on this valve. That is the first one from the battery stand, the opposite direction of the timing belt. The valve spring retainer was out of its place, one of them at least, and using this bar I was able to reinstall the retainer back into its original position, which means that now I can finally attempt to install the rockers, at least one of them, to see how it is gonna go. But I am incredibly happy because this was a very big problem for me. Miraculously I was able to fit it back in its place. The other two are okay, at least I think that they're in their positions, so I won't have any problems with them. I believe that this happened due to the heat between the valve and the piston. Then the rocker has pressed the spring and released the tension from the restrainer, and that allowed it to go out of its place. So yeah, let's get back to work. Well, one of the rockers is in place, everything is installed. The big struggle was not only to get the rocker inside, but there are these little pins that are in the front. I don't know how to call them, spacers probably, that the rocker has to lie on top of it like this, and this is the difficult part, to get this in. So we are kind of in the process of figuring out how to install the rocker easily, even better, because it is way too difficult for me to do that. I have to first get the hydraulic tensioner out for the valve, I mean, to get it out, to clean it out of the oil so I can compress it, because it is fully extended at the moment. It was fully extended before. Now I can compress it without the oil, and this allows me to get this in. You can see that that one is installed, and now the idea is gonna be to disassemble this in 2 halves, to drop the first half inside, then install the rocker and probably the second half of the tensioner. So we'll see, but it is a fact that it is possible to be done. As you can see, one of them is done. It is the same cylinder, the third cylinder, 2 of them were missing, and over here was the 2 on the third and 1 on the fourth cylinder. So yes, one of them is installed. We are gonna see if it is possible for me to install the other 2 as well. So let's try. The impossible is now possible. The rockers are in place, all of them. The third cylinder is ready, the fourth cylinder is ready, everything is properly fitted, and I'm incredibly happy about that. With some help I was able to mount them without disassembling the camshaft, which is great. Now I can proceed with the mounting of the water pump and eventually the timing belt. It was a difficult task, but with some good planning and a little bit of effort I was able to mount them, and as I said, I'm incredibly happy about this. Let's start with the water pump. Probably I won't waste time getting that on camera because it is way too cramped in here and it will take me a lot of time to install the water pump. So with the light that I have, it is way too dark for me to be able to capture any decent shots. So I will skip this part probably, and the fitting of the belt, because I will be all over the place, on top, on the bottom. You can see that the car is on the ground, is not on a platform or anything, so I won't have the room for me and the camera as well. I am sure that I'm gonna waste way too much time trying to fit the belt and the pump, so I will skip this step. Once I attach everything, I will guide you through this process, what I did and how I did that eventually. So I will continue the video from there. Hopefully I will be able to start this car. I will try. At the moment the idea is for me to install the timing belt and without me unscrewing the pulley on the camshaft, because I believe that there is small chance that I will be able to fit it and adjust it properly, but we'll see. So this is it for now. Let's get to mounting the water pump and I will get back to you once I overcome this obstacle as well. I want to explain my process on the mounting of the rockers. Probably you are interested in this. It was very tricky job. I first had to remove the tensioner, as I explained. Probably, I don't remember already. I had to remove the hydraulic tensioner to clean it off the oil that is inside of it, and then reassemble it. That allowed me to compress it till the rocker it was able to fit in between the camshaft and the hydraulic tensioner. Once the rocker was in place, I used the camshaft to compress the valve and the valve spring, because in my case, if I would have tried to compress the spring manually with a screwdriver or anything, or any kind of lever, the valve was sitting in one place and I was compressing only the spring that allowed the valve spring retainer to get out of its place, the both of them. So it wasn't an option, and I used the rocker and the camshaft. After I compressed the valve through them, I installed a screwdriver. Let me grab one just to show you the position. There is an opening over here in the bottom, so when the valves were compressed, I would simply install the screwdriver, hold the valve spring down, compress it, and release the tension on the camshaft. So that created a play between the rocker and the valve. So I installed the little spacers between the rocker and the valve top. So yeah, basically it was a tricky thing to do, to figure out how to do that, but eventually I succeeded, so I'm very happy and pleased with this. I saved myself a lot of trouble by disassembling everything over here, to trying to remove the camshaft out of its place. And yes, this is all I had to do to install them. So let's get back to the water pump now. Well, I spent a lot of time trying to get everything into place, but as you can see now, the timing belt is mounted, the water pump is mounted, the guides, the tensioner, everything is assembled, and I even checked if everything is gonna be aligned twice. I didn't unscrew this bolt and disassemble this pulley because you can see before I started I made a mark over here, and I was able to install the timing belt and align the mark twice already, so I believe this is gonna be okay. I have made some marks over here as well, and they are also aligning, so hopefully this is gonna work. One thing that I don't like is that I don't know how to place the camera for you to see this. I have tightened the belt a little bit more. This happened when I tightened the bolt on the tensioner. It kind of drags the tensioner a bit, but when I touch the belt, everything seems to be fine, and I'm able to move it up to 90 degrees, which is okay. Unfortunately, the battery just died, so I have checked everything twice, and as I was saying, I'm sorry the battery just died. I didn't have the chance to react properly, so anyway, we're back on track now. I checked everything. I turned the engine twice already. On every attempt I turned it 2 times on the crankshaft, which is one whole turn for the camshaft, and everything seems to be fine. I don't know what is gonna happen, but I am dying to see if this is gonna start. I'm not gonna touch the alternator or the hydraulic. I'm not gonna pour any antifreeze or anything. Even I won't preheat the engine because I don't want it to start right away. I will prefer for it to crank for a bit just to fill the hydraulic tensioners with oil beforehand. I'm going to install the cover, the valve cover over here, the rocker cover, so it won't leak any oil. Probably I'm going to crank it once or twice without preheating, and then I'm going to preheat it. And don't wonder what is going on if the car doesn't start right away. Eventually I will preheat the car and I will try to start it, but honestly dying to see if this is gonna work and how it is gonna run, so let's give it a crank, shall we? Well guys, you saw it, it works like a charm. I can't believe how this engine is starting now, because before it was very tedious to start this car. She was like cranking for a while and then she started, but now with the blink of an eye she just starts. I can't believe this. I don't know if she's gonna be fast as before because she was extremely fast before if you get what I mean, but I'm hoping that there won't be any problems with the engine from now on for the foreseeable future. The tensioner is a little bit over tightened, I believe, but as I said, the belt is making 90-degree turn over here. We can be bent over like this, so this means that I'm sorry guys, the cart got full now, so it isn't my day today. It's not a day for shooting probably videos, making videos, so the belt is tightened the way that I like it. I have tightened belts before, and even though the mark is little bit beyond what it's supposed to be, I believe that it is gonna be okay. And the interesting thing is that this engine started even without the preheating. You saw the second time I turned the ignition on and the car started almost immediately. The engine just surprised me. The car was starting tedious before, as I said, and now she's just amazing. So I will leave the rest of the things for tomorrow because it is already pretty late and it is cold and dark. I don't want to continue tonight, so I will install the covers and the two belts that I have for the alternator and the hydraulic for tomorrow. But I didn't mention how I did the timing over here. I used just a flat piece of metal. I put it on top of the first cylinder and I just measured the distance between the top of the head and the camshaft notch on this side and on this side. I measured them to be perfectly aligned with each other on the same distance from the top of the head, and this was all. Then I installed a mark over here and a couple of marks there, so I can see if I have made a mess when I attach the belt, if I will move them in a way. So I was able to fix everything in place, and that saved me a lot of grief and a lot of trouble. So the car starts, and this was the most important thing. Tomorrow I'm gonna finish everything and we are gonna attempt to start the car again with preheating. So I will have cooling liquid as well. We'll see how this is gonna go. So this is gonna be all for tonight. See you again tomorrow. Well guys, it is finally assembled, everything is back in place and everything fits perfectly. I adjusted the timing belt once again, the tension on it, just to make sure that it is in the correct parameters. So now everything is fitting just perfectly. I saw the new filter, the new belts for the generator and the hydraulic. As I mentioned, we have some cooling liquid inside of the system already. There are no leaks or anything. So if you think this content is appealing or helpful to you, you may consider sharing, commenting, liking and subscribing for my channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay tuned, and the only left thing for us is to make one more check if this is gonna start easily with a cold start, with preheating, and how it is gonna run for the last time. I will take the time to warm up the engine and make sure that everything is okay and check how the car is running. So let's see how she is gonna start with a cold engine and preheating. So guys, it starts very easily, as you saw, and it doesn't smoke at all or anything. It has nice compression, so I believe that the repair was successful. Thank you so much for watching again. Stay safe and hope to see you in my next videos. Bye for now.